Welcome in the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern, certified G, bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. In this right here, this is G Money Grant Mitchell. We are here delivering the picks for you today in the NBA and college basketball, and that's what we will be doing until further notice because football season is over, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, man, the people in the room. Grant, how you doing?
I'm doing really good, Tanner. What happened to bada boom, man of the people in the room? How you doing?
It floats every day, whatever I'm feeling. That's what it comes down to. It's whatever I want to do.
Okay, well, I'm doing good, Tanner. Thank you for asking. A little bit disappointed that the NFL season is over, but we've got some exciting news. Or maybe not news, but just exciting times with the NFL draft and roster, free agency, all that stuff. There's still plenty of stuff going on, and then of course, we got basketball, we got the MLB coming back soon. There's enough to tie us over.
Well, once baseball comes back, I'm pumped because that's my main shindig right there. So I'm very excited about baseball season. Spring training has started. Pitchers and catchers have reported. So maybe we'll even get some spring training bets in there. Why not? Just get a little spring training ourselves in when it comes to betting.
Can I ask you a question about something that I saw from Pro Football Focus the other day?
Yeah.
So they put out their mock draft for the first round. And, I don't say this with any Commanders bias. I genuinely thought it was one of the craziest things I saw. So the Commanders have the second pick in the draft, right? In this mock draft that Pro Football Focus put out, they had the Commanders trading back to 10 to draft J.J. McCarthy. And I'm looking at this like, if you're going to go quarterback with the second pick, you're going to get Drake May or Jaden Daniels. If you're going to trade back, you're going to load up on talent, but you're not going to take your quarterback. You're going to get your guy for the future in another draft. Why would you trade back to take a quarterback, the most important position on the field, and get J.J. McCarthy? I don't understand what the guy who wrote that mock draft was thinking.
Well, a lot of people are high on J.J. McCarthy, number one. You can get him at 10 and you think he's going to be something that makes sense, and you can get some capital for trading back. So that would be the reasoning for it. I don't think J.J. McCarthy's that good, but all the NFL people are pretty high on him.
Yeah, supposedly he's been impressive at senior day and all that stuff. So I don't know. Like, they're saying Penix is going to go second round and McCarthy's going top 10. Even if that is what ends up happening, for me, it's just hard to get behind that.
Well, what Penix did in the national championship game was an absolute joke. So he deserves to go in the 6th round. But J.J. McCarthy, I don't think he's that good. I don't know. I don't really like the quarterbacks this year. I think Caleb Williams obviously is the greatest talent of this generation. Like, same Trevor Lawrence vibe, but he cries too after he loses his 3rd game of the season, whatever. I think, he's obviously going to go number 1. I like Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be pretty good. Drake May is literally just whatever. Who's your quarterback now?
I said he's on Sam Howell. Said Drake May is Josh Allen minus 50 pounds.
Yeah, like Drake May in the ACC doesn't impress me that much. I really think it's Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams, the 2 quarterbacks to look out for. Everyone else, I don't know. I like Sam Hartman too. Big Sam Hartman guy, even though he's not that good.
Did you see the report, by the way, for what the Bears want from the Commanders if they're going to trade the first pick?
What?
So this is a rumor, but it's not going to be confirmed, obviously. Supposedly they want 3 firsts, 3 seconds, Terry McLaurin, Deron Payne, and Jonathan Allen to trade from 1 to 2.
Yeah, that's wild. That's not going to happen. No one would give that much capital away for Caleb, because then you're taking Caleb Williams, but you're not getting any talent with them. Like, you still need your talent there. I think the Bears should trade that pick, though. I mean, you got Justin Fields, and you put some weapons around him. You got a good offensive line. You got good defense. Like, you have the capital to make plays with Justin Fields, but I don't think they're going to do that unless they get a package like that.
Well, supposedly Justin Fields is on his way to Pittsburgh now.
Well, allegedly, like on DraftKings, it's minus 125 for him to go to Pittsburgh. On Bet365, it's still like plus 400, I thought yesterday. So I don't know. You got to wait till draft time to really get serious about that. Like, Bill Belichick was what? Minus, who was he going to coach?
Minus 200.
Minus 200 coach Falcons. He doesn't have a job, right? So I don't think you can put that much effort and that much thought into those betting markets for the next team and next coach odds.
Yeah, I don't disagree. But a couple of markets you can put effort into: NBA, college basketball. That's what's on the menu for today. And that's what Tanner and I are here to talk about. Tanner, why don't you go first? Why don't you start us off with some college basketball?
All right. So we got one big play in college basketball tonight. The number 1 Connecticut Huskies are traveling to the 3-20 DePaul Blue Demons tonight, Grant. This is going to be a slobber knocker of a game. The Huskies are favored by 24.5. Now, I got 23.5. So keep an eye on that. I think you can still get 23.5 on some books. That was ESPN bet had 24.5. Now FanDuel's up to 24.5. So I got 23.5 on FanDuel. But looking at this game, I know this is a massive number to lay. It might seem crazy, but when you look at UConn, they are the best team in the country for a reason. Last time out, they did cover this line against the Blue Demons. They won 85-56. I see a similar result happening tonight. Look, UConn, a couple good players there. Cam Spencer has been sensational, shooting like 45% from the three-point line. Tristan Newton's efficiency has not been great for Connecticut, but very good in the rebounding game, very good with the assist. And he's also scoring. When he's on, he's tough to stop. For DePaul, Grant, you want to know what their leading scorer does a game?
Let's hear it.
He does 10.6 points per game. Leading scorer. Like, they just can't compete. When you look at the team stats down the stretch here, 81 points per game for UConn, 64 for DePaul. UConn allows 64 points per game. DePaul allows 79 points per game. UConn shoots 7% better from the field. They also rebound. They grab 10 more rebounds per game. And when you look at DePaul's last 5 games, this is where it gets interesting, Grant. St. John's beat them 85-57. UConn beat St. John's 77-64. Xavier 93-68. UConn beat Xavier by 40 points. DePaul lost to Xavier by almost 30 points. Seton Hall beat DePaul 72-39. Seton Hall.
Yeah, the thing I like about UConn, I don't have a huge lean on this game, but what I like about UConn is they're one of those teams that knows they're dominant. They're not afraid to show it. They're going to put teams away. DePaul doesn't really have a hope here. The UConn's going to blow them out. You know, whether that ends up being by this line or not, I don't know, but I would probably be laying the points. UConn's just that good.
They don't lighten up. That's the thing about Dan Hurley. Like, he will play this game out the entire time, and he wants to send a message. He wants to make a statement. It doesn't matter who they're going against. They're going to beat them into submission. So I like UConn in the first half. Probably you're going to get that. Let me see here. Probably 13.5 first half. They don't even have a first half so alternate spread here. First half alternate spread, UConn. So you can take a bunch of alternate spreads. I think the regular alternate spread is in the range of 11.5 points, but it's minus 176. So I wouldn't touch that by any means. But I think UConn does find a way to just blow them off the court.
Switching it on over to the NBA here. My first pick of the show is going to be the Mavericks at minus 10.5, minus 11. It's kind of moving around at different books against the San Antonio Spurs. Now, Dallas is hot right now. In the 2 games since they made some trades, got PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford. They're 2-0. They've actually won 5 straight games, and they've been really good in all of them. And they already played the Spurs twice this year, and they beat them in both. Granted, that's not hard to do, but they beat them by 7 on opening night, and then they beat them by 25 when they met in their last game. So they've been handling business lately, and they've been handling business against the Spurs. San Antonio also much worse on the road compared to home. Dallas having the home court advantage here. And when I think about those trades that Dallas made with Washington and Gafford, they are just perfect fits for this roster. You know, you've got 2 ball-dominant guards in Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. When you've got those guys, all you need are solid pick-and-roll partners, guys that are going to be able to get in there and do the business. Both Washington and Gafford set good screens. They're comfortable rolling to the rim and diving, you know, being lob threats, or they can just go out of the short roll. And in that situation, they can make plays, whether they're just doing little jump hooks or kicking it out to the corner, using the space around them to create good offense. And this team in the 2 games with Gafford and Washington has the best defensive rating in the league. Now, that's only a 2-game sample size, so it's tiny. Not saying it's representative of what is to come, but we have seen this team is locked in on both ends right now, and San Antonio is not. Despite having the 8th best defense over the last 10 games, they've really struggled. They're in the bottom 5 in net rating. They haven't been winning many games. I know they did just blow out the Raptors, but the Raptors might be the worst team in the league right now, so I'm not going to read into that too much. And as bad as their offense has been all year, somehow it's been even worse lately. Over the last few weeks, they're shooting 32% from 3. That is truly abhorrent. And one particular stylistic component in this, Dallas runs isolations at the 2nd highest frequency, and they score the 3rd most points per possession involving an isolation. San Antonio gives up the 4th most points per possession involving an isolation. So again, going back to Luka, Kyrie, they're just going to be dancing out on the perimeter, get a screen from Gafford, Washington, expose the mismatch. I think you see big nights from the Dallas guards. And I think you see the Mavericks cover this line.
The Mavericks beat them by 25 points last time. They won the first game by 7. I like it. I don't love it. The injury report's pretty big for Dallas. A lot of game time decisions. You just never know what's going to happen there. But obviously, looking at those guys to play tonight. Did you see Shaq said that Victor Wembanyama or Bobo was better than Victor Wembanyama?
Yeah, Bol was like one of those high school mixtape phenoms. And you know what? Bol had limitless potential, but whether he realized it or he just kind of hasn't shown interest in advancing his game, whatever it is, he's just not that good of a basketball player. And it's pretty, Shaq and Charles and all those guys say some ridiculous things sometimes for shock value, but sometimes they just have horribly wrong takes. And Shaq could not be more incorrect. Victor Wembanyama right now is already a top 25 player in the NBA.
Yeah, and he has no team either. Like if you put Victor Wembanyama on the Suns, he'd be even better.
Yeah, and he's 20 years old, in a foreign country. Like, this is the worst he will ever be, and I think he's a top 25 player in the league.
There you go. Well, my pick in the NBA tonight, little ESPN 10 o'clock game. Golden State Warriors -3.5 now. It was 1.5, but Kawhi Leonard has been ruled out. So if you got this one yesterday, you got in on the action at the right time because I do think the Golden State Warriors still find a way to win this game and cover in it. It all comes down to Steph Curry. He's been just sensational as of late. 25, 30 points, 42 points. He's been shooting well from the field, 47%, 45%, 68% against the Pacers Thursday the 8th when he dropped 42 points. So he's the guy that's got to make it happen. And, the Warriors, I think we all thought they were going to find their stride at some point. Seems like they're starting to do that right now. They have won 5 straight games, beat some really good teams too in the process. They beat the Phoenix Suns on the 10th and just have been dominating teams in their way. Utah, they beat them by almost 20 points, 22 points there. They blew the Pacers off the floor, beat the Sixers and the Nets. On the flip side, the Clippers have kind of come back to earth a little bit. They've lost 2 of their past 3 games. Their one win was against the Pistons in that stretch, won by 6 there. The Pistons are a team that they should be beating by more points, in my opinion, and coming off a 21-point loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves. So the fact that Kawhi is out tonight and the fact that the Warriors are hot, they're at home, gives me the confidence they're going to find a way to win this game.
Since Draymond came back from suspension, Golden State is top 10 in both offense and defense, and they've got the 3rd best record in the league. The Clippers, one of the best teams in the league, no doubt, but they're 20-6 at home, only 15-11 on the road. So that's a big advantage for Golden State. Obviously, Kawhi being out helps them, but not just that. It helps them in that's one, when I say it helps them, the obvious thought is he's not going to be there to score the ball. But what's actually so important about that is Jonathan Kuminga has been playing at another level recently, averaging over 20 points per game over the last few weeks. And Kawhi is going to be his primary matchup. And you can't really afford to switch Paul George or someone else onto him when you've got more physical guys around him. So it's just going to create problems on both ends. You're going to see the ball in James Harden and Paul George's hands a lot. But Paul George is coming off a rough shooting night. Harden doesn't really want to be a 30-point per game scorer anymore, but you're going to need one of them to step up in a big way. I would probably go with Golden State too, even though I think the Clippers are the much better team.
Oh, much better. Yeah. And I agree with that Harden take there too. Like he's not a guy, he's going to break your back as that secondary scorer, but he's not the guy that's going to come out and just dominate from the stretch. So I do like Golden State. Hopefully they find a way to cover tonight, but we'll see.
Yeah, another pick, and this is going to be the last pick of the show here, but a pick that I do really like is the Orlando Magic at -2.5 at home against the New York Knicks. Now, let me start off with the negative here. So this is the second night of a back-to-back for Orlando, and they have been terrible on back-to-backs. They're 2-8 straight up this season. However, they have played a lot of really good teams. It's kind of like their toughest competition this whole year has been in back-to-backs. They've played the Nuggets, they've played the Bucks, they've played the Thunder, they played the Clippers. Those are really good teams, and their record's maybe a little bit more justifiable in that respect. The real reason that I am going with Orlando, though, is they're taking on the Knicks, and the Knicks are just beat to hell right now. We know Mitchell Robinson's out, Julius Randle, OG Anunoby, they're all out. But Dante DiVincenzo appeared to pop his hamstring in the last game. He's questionable, but this is the Knicks' last game before the All-Star break. So in my mind, why would I want to risk a guy I'm playing 40 minutes a night for one game when he could really re-aggravate this injury when he could just sit out and then get a full week off because of the All-Star break? So I don't think he's going to play. Isaiah Hartenstein has an Achilles problem. It's been nagging him for a while. He's also questionable, and same logic applying. Maybe he doesn't play. Orlando did lose to OKC pretty convincingly last night, but they actually played a decent game. Their problem was they committed too many turnovers. They gave OKC free, cheap points, and that's to be expected. Oklahoma City leads the league in turnovers and points off of turnovers, but the Knicks are only 22nd in forced turnovers. So again, take that away, and I think Orlando can play a really good game. They have a really good home track record. They've got a net rating of plus 5.2 in their building, and they've just got a lot of dudes with size and length that they can use to not slow down Jalen Brunson, but that they can throw at him, make his life difficult. That's what you do with stars. You can't stop them. You just try to make it as difficult as you can for them. Orlando's got the pieces to do it, so I think they can come out with a win in this one.
I think the Knicks are going to come out and play very hard based on what happened in their last game. I think they're going to be angry and ready to go. If you don't like the Knicks tonight, I would recommend taking Jalen Brunson, even though, like you said, they have the pieces to shut him down. I think Jalen Brunson, because of the foul the other night, probably comes out and has a huge night, and all the injuries around New York too. He has to step up. So I would stay away from this because of that. I know the stats say go with the Magic, but I think the Knicks are going to come out and play really well tonight.
I just want to see what Brunson's line is. Let's see here. Jalen Brunson over under 29.5 points. And he right now on FanDuel, he's the only Knick with any points line. So I'm guessing they're probably waiting on the injury report as well.
Yeah. So I would probably lean over on that. I just think he has a big game tonight because of what happened to New York in their last game and all the controversy and all that. I think that plays into my decision-making a lot, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I understand that. That was one of the worst calls I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. So, they're probably going to come out on fire, but again, the injuries are going to hold them back too. You got to be realistic there. But looking over at Jalen Brunson's points tonight. Anyways, Grant, that was another episode of Ride the Line. We're riding tonight.
It was, again, weird in the post-NFL world, but Tanner and I are going to make it work. We're going to be here putting out the NBA college basketball picks. And like he said, we are not that far away from the return of baseball.
Once baseball comes, I'm so locked in. I love baseball. I like college basketball a lot. I like the NBA. Not as much as MLB, though. Like, MLB is my thing. So can't wait for that. And we will see you next time, Friday, for another episode of Ride the Line. Grant, why don't you take us out of here today?
That's going to do it for this episode. Before we get out of here, jump in the comments section. Let us know what your favorite picks for Wednesday are. Like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel. And we will see you for Friday's episode.